Hey, it's Emma, and as promised, we're going to be looking at some more application layer protocols in more detail here. We're covering FTP, HTTP and its extension HTTPS, POP3, SMTP, and SSH. The file transfer protocol enables files from one host to be copied to another. The sending host runs an FTP server and the receiving host an FTP client. The FTP client will issue a command to the server requesting a specific file. As we mentioned in the last video, FTP uses port 20 for the data and port 21 for control, so that's where the commands go. The client just in this example is using port 1035, but this doesn't matter. Mostly, FTP servers request a username and password to access data, so the receiver is non-anonymous, but sometimes they require no authentication, in which case the receiver is anonymous. FTP is mostly used for transferring programs, and HTTP is mostly used for transferring web pages. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and consists of the rules which govern how multimedia files are sent across networks. It works with a client sending a request to a server, which responds in due course with a response message, like HTML code. HTTPS is just an extension of HTTP, except the data is encrypted so it is secure. It uses Secure Sockets Layer, SSL, beneath the HTTP protocol layer, and uses port 443 instead of port 80, which is what the standard HTTP uses. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and it's used by email clients to send emails. When you compose an email, you write your text and specify one or more email addresses to send it to. The message is transferred onto a mail server listening on port 25, which uses SMTP to deliver the email to the final destination through a network of other servers across the internet. Mail servers are dedicated to the purpose of storing mail and maintaining a database of users' email addresses. The recipient of the email uses POP3 to retrieve the stored email. It stands for Post Office Protocol 3 and uses port 110. Through POP3, it connects to the email server that has stored its email. POP3, all messages are downloaded and saved locally. A variation of this is IMAP, in which the inbox is stored on the mail server and sent items are stored locally. The final application layer protocol we need to know is SSH, aka Secure Shell. It's a protocol used to remotely control a computer and access its data securely. You might have had your computer fixed remotely by a technical support engineer, or access data from home when at school, or vice versa. Security is maintained by encrypting the data using public key encryption algorithms and by establishing a secure route of nodes and connections through which the remote connection is made between the host, the computer being remotely controlled, and the SSH client. Okay, let's recap. An easy to forget point is that when an FTP server doesn't require authentication, i.e. a username and password, it is said to be anonymous. Also remember that SMTP is for sending emails to a mail server, and POP3 is used to access the mail server to download your email.